All right, so let's get this thing started. We almost had a minor crisis there. I had to go to the bathroom really bad.
Yeah.
So ran right up out of here right before we started.
It was an end game type situation.
Yeah. I wish I could Thanos slap the piss up out of me, but it didn't quite happen. You know, it's actually just thinking about that. So it's funny. Last night I had a meeting to go to. So being hard-headed, didn't use the bathroom before I left the meeting. You know, just figured, hey, I'll do it when I get home. And I got home and all 3 bathrooms were in use. You got a house with 3 bathrooms and all of them in use. It's just, it's karma.
That's when you got to go emergency sanitary tub.
And that's exactly what happened. So I used the sink in the washroom to relieve myself.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Hey.
It's mine.
Hey, you know, it works.
It does work. It did go down.
Yeah, and it's not like you're cleaning dishes in there anyway.
That's right. So we made it happen. But I'm also doing a 3-day refresh this week. I actually just started today, and you've done it before, so you know how that goes. You drink extra water, and so that was also hitting me right there. And
I mean, most of that full feeling is all that extra hydration.
So we got it out, and right now I'm sipping on my vanilla fresh with blueberries in there. So that's why you have.
Come on, that's cheating, man.
What do you mean cheating? What are you talking about?
You added sugar to it.
But it's a fruit.
But it's a fruit sugar.
But the fruit goes with it no matter what. I was going to eat the fruit, so I just put it inside. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, ridiculous. Are you one of those that, doing
it by the book.
Hey, fruit is sugar. Sugar's in fruit, so you're bad. No, man, no. This is the good, all-natural, God-intended sugar. So, there you go. So good. Mm-hmm. So good.
He's over here gagging, folks.
Oh, it's so good. Don't listen to him.
Just kidding.
So you had a big day yesterday.
Oh yeah, man.
How was it?
Big day.
So let's talk about it. What exactly did you do?
It was a nice little 6-month road trip adventure. Went to Shenandoah National Park.
Shenandoah. Where is that?
That's up in the mountains of Virginia. It's part of the Appalachian Trail, actually.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And what'd your kids do up there? So this is 6-month anniversary, by the way. So
6 months, yeah.
6 months. So that's like 4 times your average relationship, right?
Oh, you Well, how many relationships you got to be in before you start actually getting an average?
That's a great point.
Oh
my gosh. But so how was the trip?
It was fantastic. I mean, the perfect day, perfect weather, bugs to a minimum for the time of year. I don't even know if ticks are around yet. It might be too cold, too early in the season for ticks.
I don't know.
Dude, we saw deer, we saw black bears.
Hanging out with
saw black bears. Dude.
Did they say, hey, it's Shrek?
I mean, I had to do the old Shrek. Ah! like an ogre I am, and someone coming in my swamp. Fun fact, though, if you do run into a black bear, you get yourself large, speak in a very low tone, and walk away sideways. Do not run. If you run, they will chase you.
Do you look it in the eye or not?
You just get big.
Just get big.
Just get big.
But what if you're super short like me? Then what? Well, I mean, I am shorter in person.
You are shorter.
Maybe they'll just look right past me.
Maybe they'll think you're just go into a ball, curl up into a ball.
Look at the little bear cub.
It's a little bear cub.
Oh, he's so cute.
We're gonna take him back to our cave and raise him as one of our own.
He's Jungle Book out there.
Oh my God.
Lord have mercy. Seriously, I tell you, we're too much. But we are excited because a little later on today, we're going to have an interview. So remember on the last episode, we talked about migraines, and I had heard this great speech on migraines. So we're going to have her in today to talk about that. So we're really excited about that. It'll be our first real guest.
Yeah, legitimate real guest.
Legitimate. We're going to do an interview. We're going to be straight-laced and, well, I'm going to be straight-laced. You're going to be the...
I'll be the comic relief.
The comic relief, of course. So
as I give you all migraines as we talk about it with my comic relief.
But this should be interesting, and we'll see. We'll put our journalistic skills to the test.
Absolutely,
because we are not journalists, but we're going to do our best. We're going to play some on the podcast. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
So how do you feel like that interview's going to go?
It's probably going to be terrible, but we'll make it happen.
I guess we'll fumble our way through it.
Oh, fumble. Oh. Yeah, it's what we do. It's what we do. Football reference, because we are big football fans. So
yeah, we're not going to punt that interview, though.
Oh, he's all over the place.
We're just kicking this thing off right now.
We won't outkick our coverage on that. We are ridiculous.
That's a personal foul. Man.
I actually said that. Don't outkick your coverage. Oh no, I told my wife that I outkicked my coverage when I married her, and she was so confused. Had no idea. She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, it's a football term, because you should, as a kicker, you shouldn't outkick your coverage. You gotta kick it high and deep instead of low and short, so that your coverage team has the time to get down the field.
Absolutely.
And I can see the eyes just rolling around our head, like, what the fuck?
What is that?
Why in the hell did I marry this guy? He actually did outkick his coverage because I shouldn't have married this dumbass.
Oh, man. To outkicking our coverage.
Ching!
That was a cheers, ladies and gentlemen.
We are cheers in here. He's got water, and I got my vanilla fresh with sugary blueberries in it.
Vanilla fresh by itself is delicious. I can't believe you ruined it.
Well, I had to eat the blueberries anyway, so...
I get it.
One shot, one kill. I also have, for my lunch, is also going to be five carrot sticks. Did the fiber earlier. Did the fiber sweep around 10 o'clock.
Dude, fiber sweep is delicious. I love that lemony taste.
As long as you mix it and drink it quickly. Don't let it sit around.
I like letting it sit.
You like to chew
so I can chew on it a little bit. I like the fiber to really clump up. Like, you're really not like, oh, that's very fibery. Like, as you're really eating it. Just let it coagulate almost a little bit in there.
You are such a nut. Now the funny thing is, we're sitting in here and we're joking and we're making fun of it, but 3-Day Refresh is actually fantastic.
Absolutely.
If you need to get a quick jump start on detoxing and getting some things out.
I would say it's probably the best tactic to break old habits or routines. For instance, I've been on a Monster / energy drink type of kick.
Shame on you, by the way.
Oh, shame. I don't know if anybody out there is listening who likes energy drinks, but
You don't know if anybody out there is listening at
Well,
all.
I'm trying to
broaden the scope.
Broaden the scope. But if you drink energy drinks like I do, they're damn delicious, and you get that little craving, like, ooh, I really want some caffeine right now. But it's not like I want some coffee. It's like, I'll take something carbonated, and you feel that rush. Well, every time I do a 3-day refresh, completely knocks those cravings completely gone.
Yeah, it's actually quite amazing how quickly it can work in those 3 days. You end up getting rid of some bloat, end up losing some weight and different things like that. And you just feel better about yourself. I mean, it has a perfect name, refresh, because you essentially refresh your system, refresh your body. So looking forward to seeing where I'll be on Saturday morning when I wake up. And then,
Hey, just go right back to whatever you were just doing before.
yeah, just Eating all the bad shit.
Yep.
Doritos and donuts, baby. D&D.
I mean, because really, you think about it, he gets completely refreshed. His palate completely now reset. Boop, and he gets to rediscover the amazingness of those Doritos, and he's like, "Oh, this is what I've been missing for 3 days."
Oh, that purple bag, man! It's I think they sprinkle those with like crack dust or something because that purple bag is just.
Have you seen the new Doritos yet? The one that they showed in the Super Bowl commercial. No. I have not found them anywhere.
No, I wasn't even aware there was a new.
Oh, is that one like super spicy one?
Oh, yes, I've seen them.
I have not seen.
It's
them.
like a black bag, I think.
Yeah, I have not seen them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well. You play your cards right, and you might just find yourself with a bag.
I might just. Oh, okay. Oh.
You get what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm picking up what you're putting down. wait! I don't want to pick up that. Don't put that
down. Once again, we devolve into nonsense.
Pure madness.
That's what we do. At least we're consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what. Just kind of taking a little rewind, going back to, because I still haven't really come back down from Shenandoah.
Well, yes. Shit, how did we get away from it? Tell us about it.
I tell you what, it is so refreshing not to have any service.
Yes.
None.
So you were completely unplugged.
Unplugged and climbing on rocks inside waterfalls where it says, "Warning. Do not climb on rocks because they may be slippery and dangerous. Stay on trail." I'm like, no, we're going to go out there and
do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
We're going to have some great pictures. So, you gotta live it up a little bit.
Live it up.
I tell you what, though. Can I say the P word on this instead of pansy? Okay. I felt like the biggest pussy ever when it came to hiking those trails, because 90% of the people out there were 80 years old or older, and there was families, woman who was like 9 months pregnant with 3 kids and a toddler that just did like maybe 2 or 3 years old, walking around and going up and down these hiking trails. And I'm like huffing and puffing. They're like, "Oh, how's it going?" Everyone's super friendly, and I'm like, man, everyone else like literally. There was an 80-year-old guy. I mean, he had 2 little hiking sticks, but he was just like, the climb back up, that's the tough part. I'm like, why do I feel like such a weakling right now? I'm huffing and puffing over here, and meanwhile, it's I tell you what, super cool experience. Some of the people out there, they must have been. There was definitely people from France and New Zealand out there.
Nice.
And the way the Skyline Drive, it's this huge road that goes, I think it's like 130 miles along the mountain ridges.
Yeah.
Well, think of how mountainous and hilly and curvy and everything else. Think of something like the Tour de France and how hilly and everything else is. I swear to God, the part of that entire resort had nothing but people. I'm coming from France, I'm assuming, for on their vacation, on their holiday, or if they call it holiday over there like they call it in the UK. And every one of them had Tour de France, like full onesies, and they were all biking. They had the click-in shoes where they can't unclick out of the bike.
That dangerous shit.
Oh, man. and they were all super serious. Oh, and by the way, they were all like 65 to 90 years old doing it.
Shit,
again.
Man. So you were just out there hanging with the old folk who were making you look bad.
The old folk who could hike circles around me, ride bicycle miles around me. I tell you what, it's some validity in the statement of aging is for idiots.
Oh yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think that, just to take that back, just thinking about what we do on the side with working out, I can honestly say that I feel much better. I feel much better nowadays than I did 10 years ago, and being 10 years older, but I'm a little bit smarter, just a little bit, not much, just a little bit smarter, and doing the workouts every day, drinking the drinks and, just keeping it up.
Absolutely.
But obviously, I guess we all need to go hiking on these trails.
I tell you, man, there's trails. One of some of the steep ones, they really get those glutes burning.
But you enjoyed yourself, so at the end of the day, that's all that ever matters, right?
Oh, it was amazing.
Good.
I mean, I probably got to give it all to the company, but I mean, you can go to the most beautiful places on earth. Have the right company, it's fantastic. Wrong company, it's like meh. Mine's not even been there.
Right. So very good. 6 whole months.
6 whole months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for you kids.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing. Excellent. So, I guess we're going to take a break.
Oh, is she ready to come on in here?
I think she's ready. She's ready. We are
This is
so
where we need
excited.
some sound effects. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. Knock, knock, knock.
Knock on the door.
Who's there?
Hello. Are we going to talk about steps how to manage migraines? Like how is this going to go?
We will see. I don't know.
I don't know. Either.
What you think I have like prepared questions and shit like that?
I'm pretty
like,
sure.
You think I'm some sort of a real journalist around here?
I'm assuming if there is steps to this program, step 1 is just stop listening to Handsome Shrek. Eliminate migraines. You got to start with step 1. If you're listening to that guy, you're going to have a migraine.
Yes. Eliminate the causes.
Oh, man.
I love it. All right, so we're going to take a break, and we will be right back after this. Tell them we'll be right back, Handsome Shrek.
We'll be right back, Handsome Shrek.
See you soon. All right, and we are back. Oh, I should say I'm back. Handsome Shrek is gone, but I have my first guest in the building. Jess, welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Of course. It's my pleasure. I love the podcast, so I'm happy to participate.
So you're the one fan that we always talk about, the one person that listens in.
I am her.
All right.
So, good stuff.
Well, thank you for coming. So, like I've been talking about, a couple of weeks ago you did a speech on migraines.
I did.
And I am one of those ignorant people that just had no clue what all went into migraines. I thought it was just a really bad headache. Go ahead and take some pills and stop complaining and get on with life. But there is much more to this, so please.
Well, don't judge yourself too harshly, first of all, because I think that's the general consensus with most people when they don't suffer from them. So part of the reason why, and I know our group is small, but part of the reason why I even wanted to do this speech in the first place was to educate the people who don't get migraines.
Right.
Because really, if you have a migraine, you're doing research on your own. You're trying to find different ways. There are lots of forums, and there's new medications that have come out that are really working for people, which is great. But people who don't have it aren't researching it to see. Mm-hmm. So they don't really know the daily struggles or the weekly struggles or the monthly struggles for some that some people have. So more just bringing light for the other people, because you have people you care about that may have migraines or friends that may have migraines. And I know as a migraine sufferer, that also comes with anxiety and depression sometimes. I've dealt with both. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I think there's a stigma around not talking about certain things, and I think that it closes people in and actually makes them worse. So I'm very open about stuff like that. So the anxiety and the depression behind it, when other people don't understand what you're going through, and it closes you off. So you're with friends and you're supposed to go out and have drinks or whatever, and you're struggling with a migraine, and you forced yourself to get through work because we have to work. We do. Yeah. And then like the thought of the loud bar with alcohol or whatever else, and I get the nausea and stuff like that too. So you may not even want to eat. So you're drinking without eating to kind of represent. And so people tend to want to cancel because you're so worn down and you're so worn out. And so it's hard to have a social life sometimes. It's hard to do stuff with your family sometimes. And I think that some people don't understand sometimes I've canceled for the third time, I'm so sorry, or the second time, or
Mm-hmm.
I come out the third time and I'm maybe not myself because deep down I'm feeling really badly. And I've told you I have a headache or a migraine,
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking, oh, she's got a headache. Like,
Right.
why is she
you can still
acting
come on and
weird?
hang out with us.
Yeah. So why is she acting this way? And really, if you knew the struggle, the real struggle, then on those days when I couldn't make it, you'd be like, no, go take care of yourself. Like, go lay and rest and
Mm-hmm.
drink lots of water and do what you have to do to replenish, and maybe next time, we can hit something up. Or people with migraines also tend to do things at the last minute, because you'll have a day that you don't know if you were going to have a headache or not. And all of a sudden you're good and clear and you're calling, and people are like, well, you haven't been out with me for 3 months. So like, why all of a sudden
why
now?
now?
And so it's things like that people, I want to bring more light to, so that people understand, so that there's maybe a little more empathy
Mm-hmm.
for people, and for people to know that we don't want this. We miss our friends, we miss partying, we miss, going to sporting events, because those are tough sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of audio visual stimulation, and sometimes it's painful for someone. So
Yeah. See, and this is what fascinated me again, because it's just if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know.
right.
And I know a lot of things that are near and dear to me that I know family members suffer from or friends suffer from. Those are things that I look up. High blood pressure.
Right.
What are some of the other things?
Well, any kind of heart disease or
medication, yeah.
cancer.
All those things you kind of look
something
up.
happens to your mom, and
Yes,
you go and Google it
exactly.
because she's telling you a version, and you want to kind of dig a little deeper. And
Yes.
so,
But
yes.
I didn't have anyone that was close to me that suffered from migraines, so I just didn't know. So kind of take us through the history of migraines
Sure.
and how it has affected
Sure,
you
sure.
and your family.
So there's kind of two types. There's a familial type of migraine, which means that you have DNA attached to it. So you have family
Okay.
members that probably have struggled with migraines.
Okay.
And then there's just having a migraine. There's also different levels of migraines. There are people that may have one once a month, or once every 6 months,
Mhm.
or a food may trigger it, or a smell may trigger it. So as long as they stay away from certain foods, they're good. If they, try not to wear a lot of different perfumes, they're probably good. I've used the same perfume for probably the last 25 years, to be honest with you, maybe 20, which kind of tells my age a little bit. But I started using it in high school, and I've used it since then because I have a sensitivity to smell, so I have to be very careful.
No, just 1 second.
Sure.
Is that something that is diagnosed, or is just something that okay, if I get that smell, if I have that smell, it's going to trigger a migraine. If I get that food, it's going to trigger a migraine. Is that something that can be diagnosed with?
It's two things. They warn you about the light sensitivity and the smell sensitivity and the hearing sensitivity. So that's like a general migraine kind of thing, that those things can happen. The food part of it is when you struggle with really severe migraines, they'll put you on the migraine diet.
Oh, really?
Which they basically
Sure, keep going.
You can't eat anything. They basically take everything out of your diet. No processed cheese, no processed meats, no breads with yeast. A lot of fruits you can't have, especially acidic type of fruit. So any kind of citrusy lemons or oranges or strawberries, which is weird that you wouldn't think that would be one. And a lot of like, you can't have any of the flavorings for spices, or like they totally cut you off.
Yeah.
You're like down to like not much at all. And then they slowly reintroduce foods to see if, but on the flip side of it too, you're semi-malnutritioned.
Right. They're taking away all this
Because
stuff.
it's like, it's no process, and red meats aren't good, and so it's like, what can I eat? So you're struggling with, I'm hungry, but you're also struggling with, I want to get this figured out.
Yes.
So that can be painful. So I figured out some things that way.
Mhm.
I did go that route at one point in my history.
Okay.
But so that's how they figure out the foods. The smells are really, you figure it out on your own as you go through life. Cigarette smoke bothers me sometimes. And there's other gasoline smell. The smell of gasoline sometimes is a trigger.
Really?
Yes. Whereas Sharpie markers, not so much.
Okay.
So it's
Wow. Yeah.
It's weird. And everyone's different, and that's the thing. Migraines are sneaky. because there's so many different elements, and so people's bodies are made up so differently that one thing that could happen for one person may not be the fix for another. And so you feel like a guinea pig a lot.
Just trying to get it all figured out.
Just trying to get it figured out, because you want to live your best life.
Right.
You want to be able to go out with your friends and hang with your kids and go to the Ravens game and not be like, oh my gosh, this is like really great, but like really horrible too.
Yeah.
And so I've had them since I was 12. We discovered it from aspartame. My 7th grade class, if you won a certain contest, I can't remember specifically what it was, and we were in groups, you got to go to Hardee's, which was like across the street from the school.
Yes.
And he would get a sub to come in, and our teacher would take us over. It would be like 5 or 6 of us. And so I'm also from a very low income family originally in my life, and I'm one of 5 kids, and we did not get fast food. We got McDonald's like once a year, and that was like the best ever.
So going to Hardee's
was like
yes.
huge. But I would always we also didn't drink a lot of soda. I would always get a Diet Coke because I wanted the soda, because we didn't get it that much, and because it was sweeter than the regular soda.
Yes.
So we figured out, I started getting migraines, and we couldn't figure out what was going on, and they were horrible. Like, I would have to go down to the nurse's office in one of the back rooms in the dark, and my mom would have to come pick me up. And so we figured out the aspartame very early. But any of your low-calorie drinks, they all have some sort of artificial sweetener in it to make them low-calorie. I can't drink any of them.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So, which is okay, but, not. I mean, you want some variety in what you can drink.
Yes.
I'm not a big water drinker, which is not good for my condition either. But it makes it hard to find things that have taste that aren't water.
Right.
Is basically, or soda. So anyway, so I've gone through a progression, obviously, in my life to where I actually have a form of migraine called hemiplegic.
Okay.
Where you actually go numb on your left side as if you're having a stroke. For me, particularly, I haven't met anyone else that has this form of migraine. It's a fairly rare form, but there are people that have it, so it's not like completely rare.
Okay.
For me, it lasts between 4 and 8 hours. And I can't walk or get up or anything. Like, it's like droop, like having a stroke. Like, I'm legit in bed or on the couch, and I'm not.
You have that paralysis for
4 to 8 hours, yes. And then I normally get about a 20 to 30 minute window where I can feel it coming on. It kind of like trickles down, and so I can kind of tell that it's coming. So I can usually get somewhere. I haven't gotten trapped. Well, that's not true. I've been trapped at work twice, but it's worked out. We've figured it out. But I generally don't get trapped out. Usually I'm good at getting home, or to my parents who live not far from here, actually.
Okay.
But, so it lasts between 4 to 8 hours for me, and then it starts to wear off, and I start to feel better. There's another stigma with migraine in that it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Are you tired because you have a migraine, or do you have a migraine because you're tired? So they offset each other. So you get that a lot. So after I'm usually pretty worn out, I don't really want to do much. I try to sleep. I love when they come at night and I can just go to sleep.
Sleep it off.
And then wake up in the morning, and I still feel groggy the next day, but it's still not as bad as like trying to wean yourself back up. And but so I was diagnosed with those 15 years ago. I actually had a little mini stroke. I was pregnant. There's another side story to that, which we won't get into today. But they decided that that's what it was. I've been to a few different neurologists and stuff. And then I have struggled with medication as well. I've tried a lot of medications to try to make the migraines not as bad or go away. I've tried preventative. I've tried onset, and none of them really seem to work for me. So they've come out with these new drugs, and we'll get to those in a little bit because I know you want me to get into a little more of the statistics, and I will.
Go for it.
But that seem to be helping people that I actually started 2 months ago, and I feel like they are helping.
Oh, good.
I'm still not even close to migraine free necessarily, but I'm very optimistic that this may be the route that we need to go, and I'm really excited about it. So that's good. More than 14% of the adults in the United States are affected by migraines.
Really?
Yes. With 3 times women being affected than men.
Probably because of men.
Well, I'm not going to say that, but you're a man, so if you'd like to, you're free to. I think that, honestly, there is a menstrual component to this as well. And I think that is partly why it's higher for women
Mm-hmm.
because it is affected by that. Our migraines are sometimes triggered by our menstrual cycle as well. So I think that probably plays a factor in that as well. Not to be totally digging on men, because we love men, we need men. So a migraine, what the official definition is a recurrent throbbing headache that typically affects one side of the head and is often accompanied by nausea and disturbed vision. This is something they've known for years.
Mm-hmm.
Nausea and vision and the sound, that's been something that has been triggers for people for a really, really long time. There are different types of migraines. So there's migraine where you have an aura, where you see little sparkles or zigzags, or
Mm-hmm.
some people, and for me also, sometimes just a spot in my vision. And we talked about this. A spot in my vision is just blurry. So it's just enough to give you like a little blurry spot. It's hard to really explain unless you encounter it yourself.
Uh-huh.
But it's like having glasses on and having a little water spot that maybe is blurred out just a bit, but you can't wipe it off and you can't make it go away. So it's sometimes frustrating. There are actually migraines without headaches.
Really?
Yes, which is you have all of the other non-functionality. So like you get the brain mush and you have the visual stuff and your hearing is bothering you
Mm-hmm.
but you don't actually get a headache. I don't think I've experienced that really. But
This is fascinating.
yes, it's crazy. We talked about the hemiplegic. The retinal migraine. So I should also say, my father suffers from migraines, both of my brothers suffer from migraine, and one of my sister gets migraines when she's pregnant.
Just when she's pregnant,
which I also think somehow goes along with the menstrual
Mm-hmm.
kind of tie-in. And I know that is a common thing for women to develop migraines during pregnancy and then they just go away. And so there are several people that I've talked to that have experienced that as well. So my father and my brother both have the retinal migraine where they actually go blind in their left eye, and they're both the left eye. So they can be driving or they can be, and they just all of a sudden they won't be able to see, and it's sort of there for them. I know it's different for everyone, but for them that's sort of their trigger that the headache's coming and they need to go.
Yeah.
But I think that some people actually get the headache first and then lose the vision as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it could go either way. So I don't want to say the one way is the way.
Right.
And then chronic migraine, which I also suffer from, and I'm good because we power through. But I'm on like month 4 of a headache.
Month
4. Yes, I'm like on week 21 of a headache. So literally every day I wake up with a headache. Every single day I wake up.
Wow.
Now some days it hurts worse than less.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it just feels like a lot of pressure. I've gone days where I've had one day without a headache, but they really say that then it's really not gone. It's just being masked by something else and you're just not aware of what's being masked at the time. I should probably do a side note and say that I am not a physician.
well, that's fine.
So, and we'll say it again at the end. But
if anyone's listening to our podcast looking for medical advice, they're clearly in the wrong place.
Yes, this is
but
really
no,
just to
is
help
experience,
families
yes.
and for a little bit of empathy. But yes, I'm on month 4, week 21.
Week 21.
Of a
4 months
December was
straight.
Yes, and the headache I had previous to that was 14 weeks. I had 8 days of no headache. Like a week of no headache.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
it came back. Yes.
So
But
14 straight weeks,
Mm-hmm.
then 1 week off, and now back to 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. But I get to live. I'm alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for that. This is not really the best analogy for anything, but I always tell myself when I'm struggling through something, kids have cancer. Kids have cancer. They're in hospital beds. I am able to drive and live and come to work and be with my kids, and it's a struggle, but there are people that are in hospital beds or wheelchairs.
That is a great perspective to have.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes
you're in pain.
we forget that.
Well, you're in pain every day.
Yeah.
I'm in pain every day, and you have to find the good. You have to, because you can't lay in bed. I could go on disability.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that really need to be on disability, and there are people with migraines that really need to be on disability. But then you limit yourself sometimes too, because then you can't do the things because you're on disability.
Right.
And that's not real. I don't want a life of sitting home and not being able to do anything and not being able to enjoy my kids. And so you have to find the good, because you have to find the thing that's going to push you through the
Power
day.
you through it.
And every day it's different. Some days it's kids have cancer. Some days it's my son's got a baseball game. Mom, you coming to my game? That's all it takes.
That's right.
So sometimes it's, honey, I got tickets to the Ravens game and they're playing whoever and I really want to go, and I'm like, okay, like that's what pushes me through, because my fiance wants to do something and I'm not gonna like limit his life if I can push myself through it. And then there's some days where you're like, nope,
can't do it. Wow.
Today's not the day.
Yeah.
Today I'm staying in bed. I'm sorry, I love you all. I have to, like, I can't. Like, you come to a point where you're at your limit, and those days are farther apart, which is good. Sunny days are the best. Rainy days I struggle with sometimes, because the air pressure affects my migraines as well.
Yes.
So and that is also a factor, and that's one of the ones that's harder to control, because you can't control the air pressure. What medication do you take to change the pressure in your brain?
Right.
So it's like there's some things you can't control at all. So on the sunny days, when someone says something, you try to push yourself a little bit more. On the rainy days, when you maybe don't have to do it, you give yourself a break. I love Saturdays and Sundays when it rains, when I can watch a show, put in a load of laundry, watch a show, go clean the bathroom, watch a show or a movie, take a nap, then go do the dishes. Like, those are the times when I can sit. I have a reason to sit, but I can also do small things, so it feels like I'm getting something done.
Yeah, housework and things like that.
Yes. So let's see what else. I have my notes here, so I'm gonna kind of
notes are fine. We never have notes around here, as you can tell, as you're in our humble studio. Small conference room.
Though. So how long do migraines last? It's different for everyone. I have the chronic form, so mine are days and weeks, and there are people that have a month headache and then have, a week or month off, and then they get another one. What's considered chronic is 15 or more days in a month of a migraine. Then you're considered as having chronic migraine. So half your month. If you have a headache for half the month, they consider that you have chronic migraine. So, but for the typical average person, it's between 4 and 79 hours, with the actual average being about 29 hours. So about a day. Most people who suffer from migraines get it for the day, kind of hunker down, take whatever meds they've been prescribed, hopefully, or have some kind of pain management plan with their physician or whoever they go to. But most people, the average person, has a migraine for about a day.
And that's a day of intense.
A day of intense
pain.
The difference is when you have chronic migraine, you learn to live with it. So the pains, it's as intense, but it's different because you've managed it differently. Right. When you get a migraine once a day or once a month, it knocks you out because you're not used to the pain every day. So it's almost like more intense and more, not to downplay anyone with chronic migraine, because the pain's the pain.
Right.
But when you're getting your body used to it, not used to it, but used to it, you tend to be able to handle it a little bit more because you have to get up and function. When you get one a month or one every 2 months, or it knocks you out, it knocks you on your butt. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to die, kind of thing.
I would imagine it's kind of like when, if you get up and you run 5 miles every day, then you're fine. But if you never run 5 miles and you just decide to get up one day and run 5 miles, when you're done that next day, you're probably going to be in a lot of pain.
That's a great analogy for that. Yes, you're not used to it every day. You're not, and it's not to downplay anyone else's pain, but it definitely is a different sort of experience. It's hard to get through the day when you're getting them not very often, for sure.
I can imagine.
Just to give people some breaks,
Yeah.
Triggers, because there are a bunch of different types of triggers. Changes in weather, like I said, the air pressure definitely affects me. Sunlight. It's a catch-22 because you love the sun because it makes you happy, but sometimes it's like, oh, where are the blinders? And then on those overcast days, when it's not raining and it's really bright, those are tough sometimes too. heat. So like the beach, which you love. And
yes.
the beach is my place of zen.
Mm-hmm.
If I can go to the beach, it doesn't matter what is going on. It's like as soon as I pull up and I see that ocean and the waves and everything rolls off.
Yeah, it just calms you right down.
It's the best ever. But sometimes the heat of the beach can trigger, which then you're like, I'm at the beach.
I'm
it's
at
my
the
favorite
beach.
Place.
I got the heat and then have the sun.
Yeah, so it's a bad combination of stuff sometimes. Odors, which we kind of talked about. Sleep, which goes off of the, do I have a migraine because I'm tired? Or am I tired because I have a migraine kind of thing? Sounds. And a lot of times the sounds are like groups of people or like crowds, or it's not, because there are high-pitched sounds that are going to hurt everyone's ears.
Right.
Or low-pitched thumping sounds that are going to like affect anyone. It's normally the busy sounds. So for me here in the office, we have cubicles.
That we do.
So on the days when the sounds are bothering me, I can literally hear 3 and 4 conversations, and it's just a bunch of noise.
Yes.
So you're not even hearing
it's just
direct.
a constant hum of
it's just like static
hustle,
in
bustle.
your brain.
Yes.
And so those are the days when I try to keep the headphones in and listen to Friends while I'm working. It keeps me focused. You're laughing. It's light, and so that's kind of one of my things that I do to try to get through the day. Friends is a big
yeah.
yeah, it's a big thing for me.
Good.
Light levels goes along with the lights. Alcohol and sugary drinks. Caffeine is not a trigger for me, but you can't have a lot of it. And so actually caffeine for me sometimes helps, but it's different with everyone. And caffeine, coffee, chocolate, sodas, they are a big trigger for a lot of people in the migraine world. So I feel blessed in that I don't really like water. And while I shouldn't drink a lot of soda or coffee, it doesn't trigger me, so I'm safe to drink those things. Hormones we talked about already. Diet, we talked about the migraine fast.
Yeah.
It's rough. And anyone can Google migraine diet, and I think it will pull up all of the things you have to cut out and then slowly reintroduce. But it was shocking to my system at first because like you really can't eat anything.
Wow.
Medications we kind of went over, and we'll go into more of that too. And then dehydration. What my last neurologist told me was that while sodas and tea and stuff like that isn't great for you, and especially if caffeine is a trigger for you, having the fluid is more important than when you're in a migraine situation. Having the fluid is more important than worrying about the caffeine or the sugar.
Okay.
So,
are you okay with juices and things like that?
Yes, I love juice.
Okay.
Yeah, juice is good. And actually sometimes orange juice, which is also good for diabetes when you're having a low blood sugar type of thing. If I just drink a little bit of orange juice, sometimes that even helps. Like the natural sugar in orange juice sometimes is helpful. But going along with that, and the depression and the anxiety, is working out. Because you can actually go work out and give yourself a migraine. I can't work out.
Really?
Yes, because I have horrible headaches as my body comes back down from the rush. So I joke with people that I'm allergic to the gym. You know, I get all hot and sweaty and red, and because that's what you do when you work out. But really, I was actually told at my last appointment to not work out right now, to just give my body a break. But then it goes with what can you eat and can't eat, your comfort foods for trying to help you get through the day. You gain and weight and lose weight depending on medications. And most, which is another thing, most migraine medications, one of the side effects of most of the medications is weight gain.
Wow.
So you're struggling with a headache all day. You probably are dealing with some form of anxiety or depression. You're now gaining weight because you're trying to take a medication to make yourself feel better, and you can't work out because you get a migraine.
Wow, so
it's
everything's
this
just
cyclical,
stacking. Yeah.
never ending, because it keeps you in this depression that is sometimes hard to pull yourself out of. I'm blessed in that I feel loved in my life. So while I deal with depression, sometimes it's never going to be a life or death situation for me. And then the anxiety you learn to deal with, along with dealing with the pain of a headache every day. You just power through it when you need to, and you just give yourself a break when you can't do it. And hope that your friends that know you, know what you're going through, and are just kind and, support you.
Yeah.
But that's my fiance loves working out. He wants to go to the gym every day. And he's like, come to the gym. And so it's one of the things that I'd love to work. I was very active. I played sports. I did cheerleading. I did soccer. I played softball for 15 years. And so it's one of the things I miss, but you have to pick and choose what your battles are gonna be. And just living and getting through the day right now until we can get this stuff hopefully sorted out soon. That's my goal for right now.
Yeah.
Because I have kids and I need to work, and so unfortunately it's kind of taken a back seat because it adds to my migraine instead of helping me.
Right.
So
right. So it's one of those things you just have to eliminate for now.
Yes. Yeah. So if anyone that you know has migraines and like they're maybe gaining weight and you want to be like, well, go to the gym. Sometimes that's not an option for them.
Right.
And sometimes even talking about it adds more stress and depression because people are noticing aside from you, and that adds a whole nother component to this disease that just like it's just tough for people sometimes. And it's such a quiet disease because like you said, people think just take 2 aspirin, you'll be good, because most headaches for most people go away that way. So it's like this never ending, and we can go through the symptoms, but we kind of went over them a little bit. But there are some health risks as well that are associated with migraine that you wouldn't think.
Okay.
So stroke for women. I actually just had a stroke assessment to make sure that everything was good. Had an EKG and everything, my MRIs to check the brain, and just to be sure there's a higher chance of having a stroke for women who have migraines. Heart disease is the same thing for women more than men, but either one. High blood pressure is a health risk. Heart abnormalities, epilepsy is a big one, because whenever your brain's doing weird stuff that's causing you to be not okay, it triggers other things. And when your body is going through trauma, which anytime it's not working normally, it's trauma, other things get triggered, and a lot of times epilepsy, seizures can happen if your brain has been through a long haul of pain.
Right.
Insomnia, I don't sleep.
No.
So we're and you can't work out to make yourself sleep better.
Right.
There's all these different
but a lot of things going on that just
Yes.
It kind of all adds together and comes together, and it's kind of like the quote unquote perfect storm of all these things.
Because they're like, rest more, have a regular sleep pattern.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell my body that?
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
I'd love to, however.
Can you give me something else? And then, it gets, well, we'll get to that part too. So anxiety and depression we talked about 25% of people with migraine have depression, and 50% of people that have migraines have anxiety.
Wow. So
it's like a high, and a lot of it's masked, because people are ashamed and they're embarrassed and they're sad, and they don't want people to judge them. And so irritable bowel syndrome, which we won't really go into, but and then fibromyalgia, which is a pretty new diagnosis of a disease for people. It's a few years that it's been around, but it's just now been linked also to migraines, which is like fibromyalgia. I don't know all the details of it, but it's basically your body's like in pain, like your nerves and your muscles create pain in your body.
Oh my gosh.
And so they've now associated migraine with fibromyalgia as well. So
on top of the pain you have in your head, the rest of your body also feels pain as well.
Yes, and so they've linked them together now. So which it's scary to think about, but it's also really great that they're associating things together, because it just means better treatment for people at some point. We're getting so close, and so it's a scary thing, because it's like, oh my gosh, really? But like on the flip side of it, yay that we've discovered one more thing that could maybe help someone else in their treatment. Which brings us to treatments.
Okay.
So there's abortive medications and preventative. So abortive medications are the ones that you take right when you get the headache, that will hopefully, if you take them quick enough, a lot of them will just completely skip over the migraine and you won't even have it.
Okay, good.
For some people. So we have like Maxalt and Relpex and Imitrex, and so those are all abortive that you're supposed to take as soon as you feel like you might be getting something. As soon as you start seeing some kind of visual or feeling weird, you're supposed to take them. And then there are preventative medications like Topamax and Depakote and Verapamil. I've taken all of them. They didn't particularly work for me. Sometimes the side effects were worse. I'm the type of person where I can drive anywhere one time and I can get there and I don't get lost. I was getting lost, some of the medications, I was getting lost going to places that I'd been to 15 or 20 times.
Oh, really?
And was pulling over on the side of the road and like not having a panic attack, but having a panic attack because I know where I am.
Right.
But I don't know where I am. And I don't get lost normally either. I can usually backtrack pretty well, going places too, and figure other ways to go. And I always love finding 5 ways to get to one place, different ways. And so that sometimes the side effects, and then there's the weight loss, and then there's your brain. Sometimes it makes your brain mush and you can't think straight, and you're trying to have a conversation with someone and you know they're looking at you because you're trying to get the words out and they're just not coming. And so it makes you feel dumber. So now you got this headache and you feel dumber and you're gaining weight and so it's tough to find something that's a good resource for people. And then the really scary part are the narcotic drugs that are prescribed to people for migraines because you're in such horrible pain. And then you have the depression, and then you have the anxiety. And then sometimes that transfers over to illegal drug use because you're just trying to get relief.
You just want to be done with this.
I personally would never, ever, I personally wouldn't take my own life. It's just in my beliefs. But I'm at the point in my life with these headaches where I could see why people would just be so lost and in so much pain and so desperate that they'd try anything, including illegal drugs, just to not feel, and then end up killing themselves. So it's if we can get education, if we can get people to have more empathy, if we can, talk about it a little bit more, my hope is that, because illegal drug use, there's heroin overdoses all the time, and there's always another reason why someone starts that. No one comes out saying, I'm going to do heroin.
Just wake up every day, you know what sounds good today?
Let's go party. This is my first time ever. Let's go do something. So there's always a reason why someone starts something like that. And a lot of it is depression or anxiety, and some of it could be from having real pain that people don't listen to or don't understand, or maybe they don't have the resources to go to the doctors that they need or whatever. But getting into narcotic drugs, and some people need it. I'm not trying to downplay that either. But it's such a scary slope when you have the depression and the anxiety on top of it, and you just don't want to feel pain anymore. When you get the narcotics and you're feeling good, and then you have to take a little more, and then it's not enough, and you hear somewhere else, oh, we'll try this will make it go away too, and then you're taking the narcotics, and you're taking the drugs, and it's just bad combinations. And if people had more empathy and we're educated a little bit more, maybe we wouldn't have as much of that. Maybe there'd be more conversation. Maybe, no, you just stay home. I know what you have going on. Just don't feel bad. We'll do it another night, I promise, and not make people feel bad when they aren't up to doing it. Because I promise you, if you have chronic migraines and you've powered through the whole day or anything, you want to go.
Yes.
You want to see your friends, because family and friends and fun is the good part of life. So you want to do that stuff. But if you're so worn down that you can't, and then your friends are mad at you on top of it, or it just adds another component. So the education part of just, have a little empathy for somebody. Maybe you can't just take 2 pills and
see me in the morning.
Done.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a new CGRP inhibitor. There are several new drugs out. They are injectable drugs. Aimovig is one of them. That is the one that I am on now. I'm taking my 2nd round. You take it every 28 days. I have to take 2. It's like an EpiPen.
Okay, so just...
Yep, and so for me, I have to... Legs or stomach, and different sides, so not the same leg for both shots, or different sides for the stomach. If I haven't done that yet, and I don't know that I will, but if I were to. And they were just... approved by the FDA about a year ago. There have been enough trials, and just to speak for myself, I feel lighter in my head. My head doesn't feel as heavy. I feel more lucid. I haven't gained any weight. One of the side effects is not gaining weight. And so I'm very optimistic. And another reason why I appreciate you having me here is for anyone else that is struggling and maybe by some fluke hears this podcast, that they would be able to go to their doctor and say, hey, there are these new meds. Because, people have been dealing with, you just want to give up. Right. Here are these new meds. They're actually really working for people. They really are. I can say that for myself because I'm taking one, and I feel like it's working for me.
Very good.
They may need a different one, a different version, but
there are options out there.
Yes, reopen the conversation with your physicians and tell them. And if they aren't interested in it, find a new one. find someone that can. If you're lucky and blessed enough that you can get into a neurologist at Hopkins, do your best to do that, even if you have to wait 3 or 4 months, because they can get you into the migraine clinic. And they have some of the best doctors over there right now. They have the best doctors over there for migraines.
They have a whole
anyway.
migraine clinic?
Yes, they have a whole
Wow.
migraine clinic. It's at the Bayview campus. And they're really, really just awesome people. And a lot of them suffer from migraines themselves. Some of them are actually taking the same new prescribed medications, and it's working for them. But they have a whole different outlook because they're suffering from it as well. So they know what you're going through.
They know, yes.
So you don't feel like someone who's like, okay, 15-minute appointment, here's your prescription, go try this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, here's your prescription, go try this. And they do not prescribe narcotics.
Very good.
They do not. So...
Well, all right.
Are we good?
Yes, yes.
Is that everything you've
yes.
We've taken a good amount of time.
Again, I'm so glad that you were able to come in and we were able to do this. Kind of like what you just said there at the end. So now hopefully this will get more people educated. Those of you who suffer from migraines and those of us who don't, so that we know now and we have more empathy and we can all work together to try to figure out things and just make everybody's life a little bit happier.
Yes. At the end of the day, like, life is stressful. It is.
Yeah, it's already stressful
and
enough.
Kids and finances and if people loved each other a little bit more, and the world would be just so much easier.
Wouldn't it though?
A smile and a hello costs nothing.
Yeah, it's so free.
But it could change someone else's day who maybe no one has spoken to for that day. So. Anything I can do. I appreciate you having me here. I appreciate you letting me talk about it.
Thank you.
Even if it helps one person, I feel like
then
we
I
did
think
a good
we've
job.
accomplished something.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. So we'll go ahead and sign off now. And don't be a stranger. Come back again.
Oh, of course. I'd love to come anytime. I listen to the podcast, so I'm into all the stuff that you guys talk about, and maybe from the female perspective,
That'd be great.
I have some football input, and I have some. I love the Marvel universe, and a lot of the stuff you guys talk about, I'm all into. So if you ever need a female perspective on something, or there's just stuff that you want to ask me about, because I am a female, like whatever you guys need or want.
Now we're talking.
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for coming. And we are signing off. Good night.